Ted Cruz was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, and he decided to resurrect an already debunked conspiracy theory about Ukraine. In fact, the lie was so ridiculous that producers can be heard laughing in the background. Take a look.
Do you believe Ukraine meddled in the American election in 2016?
I do, and I think there's considerable evidence.
You do? You do?
Yes, and Chuck, let me say.
This is, Senator, this sort of strikes me as odd because you went through a primary campaign with this president. He launched a birtherism campaign against you. He went after your faith. He threatened to, quote, spill the beans about your wife about something. He pushed a National Enquirer story, which we now know he had a real relationship
Chuck,
with the editors of the National Enquirer.
Dragging up all that garbage.
Senator,
that's very kind of you.
Let me ask you this. Is it not possible that this president is capable of creating a false narrative about somebody in order to help him politically?
I do like that follow-up by Chuck Todd. Like you got unmanned by Donald Trump. You're really gonna defend him and lie for him on television right now?
Right, now remember, that's not the ostensible reason that he's doing it. He's saying, look, you're backing a conspiracy theory by the president. Remember all the conspiracy theories he did about you. So you of all people would know that Donald Trump is perfectly capable of coming up with wild, insane conspiracy theories like your dad killing JFK. That was a theory that Trump pushed. And then Cruz says, well, haha, I appreciate you bringing up that garbage. But remember, that was garbage that Trump did against you. So now when you back up his garbage about how Ukraine interfered with an election that no American intelligence official believes. In fact, American intelligence officials testified in these hearings saying it is Russian propaganda, and anyone who repeats it is helping the Russian state do propaganda in America. We know that definitively because of US intelligence, and yet you do it on national television and you spread that garbage. It's the least that anyone could do to ask you that follow-up question, and credit to Chuck Todd, because it is an excellent follow-up question.
Absolutely, and he's not the only one making that point. In fact, a Republican strategist, Susan Del Percio, says the following: how shameless they can be in defense of a man who not only would never defend them, but a man, Trump, who viciously attacked Cruz's wife, viciously attacked his father, and viciously accused him of having an affair with 5 different women, which is funny every time I hear that.
Yeah, it's like the best accusation Ted Cruz has ever had. He's like, 5 women in my lifetime being attracted to me? I don't think so. He's like, but keep spreading that rumor.
So even though Republicans like Senator Kennedy keep bringing up this Ukrainian conspiracy theory, I just want to make sure that people are armed with the truth on what's really going on, because they keep citing articles like, oh, there was an article in Politico or in The Economist indicating that Ukraine did in fact meddle in our elections. But if you go back and you actually read those articles, you'll notice that they don't actually back up what Republicans are saying. In fact, PolitiFact caught up with Senator Kennedy after he made his accusations about Ukraine, and they asked him to send the articles that he was referring to in various interviews, right? The Economist and Politico. And so he sent them 8 links. PolitiFact looked into every single one of those links, and not a single one of them actually backed up what Senator Kennedy was saying.
No,
right?
Republicans making things up?
Look, we know that, but like the whole point of doing this show is to give you guys the truth and the facts, so when you come across these ridiculous conspiracy theories, you can debunk them yourselves. So just going back to what Kennedy had said, Russia was very aggressive and they're much more sophisticated, but the fact that Russia was so aggressive does not exclude the fact that former President Poroshenko, former president of Ukraine, actively worked for Secretary Clinton. Now that is not true at all. Did Poroshenko prefer Hillary Clinton to get elected over Donald Trump? Yes, because Hillary Clinton was much more aggressive against Russia, whereas Donald Trump during the election was making excuses for Russia left and right. Now, let's talk about what we found through PolitiFact. So news coverage shows Ukrainians preferred Hillary Clinton because she was tough on Russia. However, the articles Republican lawmakers refer to don't show a vast top-down approach ordered to boost Clinton. So look, it's one thing to have politicians, in various countries prefer specific candidates, or maybe they write op-eds preferring a specific candidate. But is there an orchestrated top-down campaign to meddle in US elections in order to get that candidate elected, right? And in the case of Ukraine, there was not. Plain and simple.
So easy to understand. For example, Bernie Sanders might like Evo Morales in Bolivia, but did he help him in his election in a way that interfered with their electoral process? Of course not. So that's all the difference in the world. So if, for example, Vladimir Putin said, man, I really like Trump over Hillary Clinton because Trump will do anything I say, either because I own him or he's an idiot. It doesn't matter, but I like him. But then he doesn't do anything else. And there is no the trolls, the bots, the fake ads, and all the things that they did. By the way, they attempt to get into the voter rolls also from Russia. If they don't do any of that, then who cares what Putin thinks? Okay, Putin wants Trump instead of Hillary Clinton. That's not interesting. His actions in interfering with the election is what's important. And it doesn't look like there's any evidence of that from Ukraine, and there's overwhelming evidence of that from Russia.
Just a tiny bit more. Again, this is from PolitiFact. Republicans frequently mention a 2017 Politico article which focused on the work of a Democratic political contractor who tried to dig up dirt on Trump and his advisors. We vetted and found that the GOP has used its findings selectively. So let's get a little more specific. The article itself cautions that the actions of the Ukrainians to oppose Trump were not as expansive or as centrally controlled as the election interference by Russia. Those nuances, though, have been ignored by Trump allies who have chosen to play up the Ukrainian efforts outlined in the article rather than the more extensively documented Russian meddling.
And remember, guys, all the intelligence folks that are testifying are people in the Trump administration. So it's not like we're going back to Jimmy Carter's people and they're saying, well, look, we're out of power, but it looks like to us the Russians meddled in this election because we don't like Trump. No, it's the entire intelligence community. And they're currently working under Trump and have been for 3 years. And they all agree the Russians definitely meddled in our elections and the Ukrainians definitely didn't. Nonetheless, these Republicans, including Ted Cruz, going around going, hey, look, man, if I just say it enough, maybe it just muddies the waters enough that we can get all of our Republicans and maybe some independents to go, I don't know. You know what that's called? It's called manufacturing doubt, okay? And so it's an old trick that the tobacco companies did first. Well, some doctors say cigarettes are bad for your health, but other doctors that we paid off say that it's actually good for your health. I guess we'll never know. Keep on smoking cigarettes. Then the oil companies did it. Some people say climate change is real, and some people say it isn't. I guess we'll never know. Let's keep drilling and getting oil so I can keep making money. And now the Republicans have adopted it as their central tactic because they don't have the truth on their side. So they go, maybe it was the Russians, maybe it was Ukraine. I guess we'll never know. Let's just leave it alone and not impeach Trump.
And one final point that I've been dying to make. Look, Donald Trump keeps saying, and Republicans parrot this point, that the reason why he held up that military aid was because he was concerned about corruption in Ukraine and he did not want to release that money until that corruption was rooted out. Okay, fair enough. If that were true, why wouldn't he go to our intelligence community to do the proper investigation into the Bidens? If he genuinely thought there was an issue with the Bidens, why would he go to a country that he claims is devastatingly corrupt to do the investigation into the Bidens? Come on.
Okay, and why wouldn't you go to your normal Secretary of State and the diplomats? Instead, you bring in Rudy Giuliani, my secretary of my bro. Yeah. That's not a thing, okay? You can't ask your personal lawyer to do State Department diplomacy for you. You would do the State Department and you would do diplomacy if you had a real issue. If you don't have a real issue and you're just trying to get dirt on your political opponent, you send in your personal lawyer / goon to go outside of the process and figure truth doesn't matter anyway. I'll get all the Republican politicians to lick my boots and lie for me when I'm in trouble. Well, that's exactly what's happened. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.